He's a director for European Studies and also a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on the Morning Star. Doc, can you hear me? Good morning. Okay. Perhaps we'd have to check the lines again. Doc, can you hear me? Good morning. Okay, we'll have to rectify the challenge and then speak to Dr. Asasante. Perhaps he can hear me, but I cannot hear him. So we'll try and rectify that and bring that conversation to you. The parties are crisscrossing. I mean, whilst we are paying attention to the parties, we, the media, have to fight a battle of our own because the EC has announced that it's just going to allow only 12 media outlets, media houses into the regional coalition centers. They're going to look at, 5 TV stations and 7 radio stations. The Media Foundation for West Africa is asking the Electoral Commission to consider that decision, in fact, to reverse it. Try one more time. Hopefully, I'll be second time lucky. Hi there, Doc. Good morning.
Good morning, Now. How are you?
I am well. Thank you very much for asking. So it's 10 days to the elections. It's so closer than we even thought. Let's start off with your general assessment of this space. Are things going as you expected it to go as a political analyst watching it, how things are unfolding, how political parties are focusing on strongholds, others are also seeking to make inroads in other party strongholds and all?
Now, thanks for the opportunity.
Doc, can you hear me? Unfortunately, we just lost him on the telephone now. We'll have to try again. And hopefully it will work this time around. once
Morning
again.
once again.
Yeah, hopefully technology will be on our side as we speak this time around. So I'm saying that with 10 days to go in the elections, your general assessment of the space itself, looking at how the political parties have been campaigning, some have been spending too much time in their strongholds, others are also seeking to make inroads in those strongholds and other places and all. What is your general assessment of how things have been going on so far?
So far, I have seen the pluses, the minuses. And the pluses, I'm talking about the fact that all the political parties have taken the trouble to campaign and campaign vigorously. They have discussed issues of national importance, i.e., the economy, where they are of the view that they can have a second look. They have not waste time to point it out, where they believe that there's a need to maintain the status quo. They have also done that. We have seen issues relating to employment, job creation, and the rest of them. So we have seen the political parties talk about the need to maintain the environment and also work to support agriculture and food production. We have also seen them in the area of ensuring that there is also peace before, during, and after elections. They've discussed issues relative to infrastructure development. And if you look at the MPP, they have outdoor a number of projects they've undertaken. The NDC, of course, they are not in office, have also been pointing out to what they've done before their exit in 2016. So far, they've touched on the issues that affect this country to a large extent. The minuses. The minuses that are there. So one, certain issues, they gloss over them. The best they did were to, pay lip service to them. For instance, issue of Galamsey. The two parties are afraid to talk so much about it relative to how we can tackle this problem head on, for the fear that voters who are into that business will vote against them. And it is particularly so with the ruling government, which is so much afraid to go into that area. But you and I know that Galamsey is the cancer that we have in recent times. And if care is not taken, it's going to consume all of us. Its debilitating effects on the environment in general, and in specific areas such as water bodies, forests, and then its impact, negative impact on agriculture, which is the mainstay of this country, relative to crops such as cocoa, which is very, 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 very critical to the survival of this economy. Now, today, people are cutting down cocoa trees and in search for gold. There are those who are also undertaking seriously Galamsey activities in cocoa growing areas, and they are, unfortunately, the heavy metals are finding their way into the cocoa pods. Scientists have told us this. We are also facing threats, and that one is existential threat from the activity, because the water that people consume in this area are heavily polluted, especially where the mining activity takes place. This morning, we woke up to listen to news that the Western region chiefs are also calling on government to intensify development there and also deal with the problem of Galamsey and all that. So it tells you that this problem is a big one, but the political parties have trivialized it. We have not seen the type of conversation you and I are looking forward to that will change the game. That aside, the issue of Dumsor, the government tells us that there's nothing like that. But you see, looking at the face of, power consumers and what they experience from our homes and from offices and the rest of them, if you tell us that it is not Galamsey, it's pure insult to us, because you wake up and you realize that in the night you go to, before you go to sleep, you are in darkness some of the days, and then you wake up, there's no light. Yes, it doesn't happen often, but you once a while you see, and we are getting that picture. So what is it? So there is that challenge there, and we have had a conversation about the IPPs and what they are going through, and the fact that the state is not able to settle them and all that. So governance must be driven with what? Truthfulness. Be truthful about the situation. Let people bring people along so that they appreciate the problem and they will find a solution to the problem. So that when that they are part and parcel of the problem, they will be part and parcel of the solution. And anytime that problem comes to the fore, they will jump into the fray to defend the government. And this government has lost sight of. We have also, the part of the minuses is that, yes, if you read the Kodio report now, political parties are putting more emphasis on campaigning from house to house. You recall Professor Mel started this and he was a laughing stock. Today, it's been dictated that that's the way to go. But that aside, you see that they are moving into spaces where they can get the large chunk of people to change their message to, and then have the feedback and the rest of them. Good. But you can also follow the conversation in that respect and say that, look, there's something missing here. What is missing here? The large army of youth that we have, some of them are on the social media, looking forward to receiving messages that resonate with them, messages that give them hope, messages that tell them about the state of affairs, messages that really tell about the idea, the solutions that the political parties have relative to their problems, so that it can also agitate their minds, and then out of which they can make informed choices. That is missing on the social media. What you find is nothing but what? Songs, gestures, slogans, outdooring of party paraphernalia, including T-shirts and the rest of them. That is not what the youth are looking forward to. They are looking forward to what? Messages of hope. Messages that will, drive their dreams and aspirations and the rest of them. They are missing there. And I find it very, very strange that such a platform is not put to effective use.
Okay.
So these are my few observations
for the process so far. So, especially with 10 days into the going to the polls, you mentioned the issue of power supply and how it was such a major issue of campaign back in 2016. Now, it may not be as severe as what happened at that time, but like you said, there's still that discomfort and unpredictability for the consumer. I mean, does it have any implications at all with regard to what the consumers are experiencing and complaining about, and the response coming in from government, which insists that there isn't, a challenge at hand? What is being experienced in some parts are just localized faults.
You see, you can, tell people stories, but when they get the real truth behind that story, their attitude will change. If you are telling people that there is no doom so, and they are experiencing that in their homes, this will obviously affect the way they look at the things that you churn out to them, messages and all that. Do they take it as something which is truthful, or they take it with a pinch of salt? And, take it or leave it. Some of these little things affect voter choices, right? But when you are talking about issue of power, and there is that problem there, and people are facing it, they don't need anybody to tell them. They will tell you what it is, because as for power, it affects everything. From birth to death, you need power to survive. Even if you are dead, the bodies that are kept at the mortuary, they need power to what? Keep them, intact there. So it tells you that it is critical. It is critical. And that I believe that the earlier the government took a decision to deal with this and then give the public the rightful information, the better it will be for them.
So does it have any political implications?
So obviously, power, when it's severe in certain areas, you will see the influence on voter choices. It's there. You saw Doomsday and its effects, even though we acknowledge that it's not as severe as what we experienced in 2016. But we are seeing what the problem lingering somehow within the economic space of the country.
Now, going into the polls, what in your view are the major determinants, or is the major determinant education or free SHS? Because you've seen that in the last few days, emphasis on free education has seen a major boost or more attention being given it by the governing party, the incumbents, which is drumming home the point about free SHS, the need to protect it, and that the opponents, the main opponents, the NDC, has intentions of cancelling it with the indication that they would review the program for better implementation so that it benefits more people. Then there is also the subject of the economy. So what exactly do you think will be the determinants, or are the determinants going into the polls?
I must say that there's not one issue that influences voter choices in Ghana.
Yeah, there isn't one issue, but sometimes
no.
there will be some major issues, right?
Yeah, there is no single issue. People look at a mix of issues and based on which they make informed choices. But what I can also say that there are national issues that affect everybody, and there are regional issues affecting people in that region. Then there are constituency-specific issues, that problems that pertain to certain specific constituencies. Yes. So voters consider these three when they are voting. Of course, there are some who will look at only one issue or another. But among others, the national issues are the one, because they affect everybody, you see people paying attention to. And number one is the economy. Because you and I are alive to the fact that once the economy improves, it robs off every sector and make life better for every human being. If the economy is hit, obviously the effects is out there for everybody to see. So the economy is number one. Infrastructure development is number two. Because this country, take it or leave it, this is a third world country. Infrastructure, we are still developing it. So people want their share, which the Constitution also enjoins political parties to provide. So that is there. Then you have issue of what? Unemployment, which has been a thorny issue over the years. That there are large army of youth who are without jobs, and you know the danger that it poses to the stability of the state. So people are looking; those are the things people look out for, in addition to health, education, and the rest of them. Yeah, the fact that the government is, hitting or putting emphasis on education, you can understand. Because if the economy were to be doing better, the government would have added that. But where its strengths are is where you build bridges when you are campaigning. So I can understand the government that this is where I've done well. I'll put in what? More emphasis on that. But you see, you cannot talk about education alone. You need to talk about other areas as well. But common sense demands that the areas that you have performed abysmally, or you are facing challenges, you want to what? Put less emphasis on those areas. So I can understand the government. Because if the economy, as I've already said, happened to be doing well, the government would have, trumpeted that for everybody.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then we are seeing other areas they are talking about, infrastructure development, and they are showcasing and all that. Remember, politics is a contest of ideas. And what? A referendum of your work. What records do you have? Obviously, they will showcase what they have done. So you are seeing the commissioning of projects around this time. Beautiful one, no doubt about that. They've done it. They are showcasing there's nothing wrong. But it ties into some of the problems we have in this country, issue of incumbency abuse, right? They go to commission a project, and at the same time, you see campaign going on, messages that are of campaign nature going out and all that. It's an insult to those who are contesting with that candidate, in the sense that the candidate, through taxes, is financing everything of the state. And if you are going to because you occupy such office, you are going to use that and then campaign against me. You can look at it. That is the incumbency abuse we're talking about. People have talked about it, but for me, this state, we have a certain culture which is negative. Things that border on our or things that affect some of our political processes and all that. When a time comes like election, this is where we get to know that it's a problem. Only to go to sleep when we are out of the elections. And then the problem will reoccur the next election. We need to find lasting solution to incumbency abuse in political system, because it doesn't support the political system at all. So these are some of the things look at. But the voter is not going to look at only one message. He's going to look at messages from the national level, because they affect him. Infrastructure development affects everybody nationally. Economic issue affects everybody nationally. Unemployment nationally. But you talk about regional specific issues. There are certain regions, Galamsey activities are going on there. It will affect them more than other places. They will focus their attention on that more. And then you come to constituency-specific issues. There are certain constituencies, if you are going to talk about anything and you don't talk about potable water, I'm afraid nobody will listen to you.
Okay.
So these are some of the fine
so
details that the voter will look
it's
out.
a myriad of issues.
Yes.
And you spoke about the commissioning. Just to touch on that one a little bit, we see it from time to time. Incumbent governments would be commissioning projects at the last minute, days to the polls, sometimes even a day or two to the polls. Do they really influence the voter with regard to who, or will it sway them with regard to who they would vote for, these last minute commissioning of projects?
This has been a feature in Ghanaian politics since time immemorial, not only in the Fourth Republic, but we've seen the preponderance of this in the Fourth Republic, right? But we as a society, we have not taken the trouble to look at it and see how we curb that problem. It is a problem. It has its benefit and it has its weakness. Part of the weakness is that a road that you will be able to construct within, say, first 2 years, why would you wait for 2 years, 4 years to do that? And you allow people to go through pain, dust, health with all its attendant health problems, and then the difficulty of flying such a road and all that. It creates all manner of problems, and then you only wait till the last end of your regime, and then you bring it out. You adore it. Fine, people lives are going to be improved. But the pain that you have caused those people for not doing it on time, have you also factored that one? That one is missing in the calculation. They are aware, political actors, all of them, they are aware of this. But they play this game just to have a certain political advantage. But take it or leave it, infrastructure development always influence voter choice one way or the other, because people need them. We all need them and all that. But there are some who will say that, well, it is the duty of the state to provide all these basic amenities and all that. So if you do that as part of your job, I'm not going to glorify you with any votes. It's like me being a teacher. When I teach my students and they do well, and then they go out, they don't need to glorify me because I was paid to do that. It's your job. You need to do it. There are those who believe that, hey, it has come in handy, and I believe that whoever, produced that or made it happen, I'm going to give my vote. So it has its all sorts of influence. But the bottom line in Ghanaian politics is that if you read all the literature, the number one factor that influences voter choices the most is economy, because it's about bread and butter issue. So people look at prices of commodity, which is a function of inflation, when people look at what their purchasing power, they are talking in economic terms. Those who do other businesses with what foreign, which involve foreign currency, they are aware of inflation rates and the rest of them. So all these things go a long way to shape their mind towards as to who to give their vote to. So it is a critical one. But of course, the national ones, they will gravitate towards us, come to their region and particularly their constituency, and see what is there.
Now, let's turn our attention to the Ashanti region. There seems to be a lot of focus on the Ashanti region, even for the NPP that has the Ashanti region as their stronghold. The NDC, according to one of the executives in the Ashanti region, after the former president's tour of the Western region, one of his last places that he'll be visiting is the Ashanti region, and he will be there till the day of the election or the day before the election. Why is there so much emphasis on the Ashanti region, even for the governing party?
I mean, they will be so naive not to concentrate or put more emphasis on Ashanti region. I'm telling you this because for MPP,
on both ends, on both ends, or for the governing party.
Yes, I was saying for MPP. Remember, you are dealing with the constituency with the largest number of voters in there, and with the high number of constituency seats, 47. You have a whole lot of people who are in there. So for the MPP, that is their stronghold, and you need to get for MPP. They need to go beyond 70% then of votes. When they are able to garner that in that area, they are winning the election. So obviously, that will occupy the place, will occupy their attention. They want to leave no stone unturned. If you look at what the NDC, if they are able to gain 30% of the votes, 30% and beyond from Ashanti region, they are winning the election. So what do you expect them? They will go there. You go into the mathematics of the last election. NDC got more votes than they got in a voter region. So it tells you that, look, that is part of the schemes that you need to adopt if you want to really show up your vote in voter region and other areas that are strongholds of your party. So tactically, the two parties are right in taking that type of decision there. They will go there because that is going to be the main focus of the political attention.
Now, for the NDC, some would say that they are not putting in the same sort of energy into also whipping their base in their stronghold, the Volta region. Would those who say that have any merit in their argument?
Those who say that maybe, depending on what they see in there. But what I have gleaned from all those areas is that you've seen an NDC campaigning effectively there. Yes, they are campaigning because it's one of their strongholds, a major one, of course. So they need to put in their all to get the maximum votes and then whip up also support so that voter apathy will not hit them. You remember the last election, they were hit by voter apathy.
Yes, especially in 2016 as well.
Yes. So this time around, I'm sure they want to go around the problem and deal with it. And that's why you've been seeing John Mahama campaigning in those areas, including OT and the rest of them. It is important that they do that, your strongholds. You've seen also NPP going to their strongholds, such as Eastern, Western, and the rest of them.
Yeah.
It is critical. In politics, if you want to win, I've said it, that there are three variables which are also critical. I call it RSM. R, resources, both human and material. M, your manifesto and your messages. And then the S is what? Your strategy. What strategy do you have that will really bring you the votes? So the RSM is critical.
Now, speaking of the elections, yesterday there was a communication from the Electoral Commission indicating that when it comes to media presence, only 12 media houses will be allowed to their regional coalition centers. So far, there have been some reactions. The Media Foundation for West Africa, for instance, is asking the Electoral Commission to rescind this decision. What do you make of this position taken by the Electoral Commission?
I think I support the call by Media Foundation for West Africa. Why are you limiting the people? On what basis? What is it that they have seen that we have not, which they want to share light on for us to know? I mean, if we are talking about what? They've made a requirement that it should be a credible media house. That one, I have no problem with that because there are quacks all over. And you want people who are recognized and credible and have gone through the legal processes to establish the organization and the rest of them. Fine. But if you limit them, on what basis are you limited? I mean, what is the criteria? Why are you throwing some people out? That becomes something that, for me, if we are talking about what? An equal playing field. And then also transparency. In this regard, we are talking about transparency, right? Transparency of the process. Because elections are driven by what? Transparent processes. So you don't want to undermine the same effort that you are putting in place to ensure that. And then at the back end, you are also doing something it's counterproductive. All that the UC has done so well. So I'm not sure they want to change their work with this. They should rescind their decision and allow all the press who are qualified to be there to be there. That's it. Once you limit them, you create all manner of problems in the minds of people. Sometimes the things that you don't even envisage are the things that are going to be churned out against you related to the decision you've made. So EC, my little advice to them is that, look, stay away from that. Allow the media, which is a credible one, to be there. That one I agree, so that you eliminate the quacks. But you allow them, those who have proper, to go through proper accreditation and get them, and then go there and then cover the elections. After all, they add to the transparency and they are able to help us to right wrongs when they come up and all that.
In the instance they do not rescind the decision and maintain that position, does this decision have any implications? Will it have any implications?
My view is that, and I hope and I believe strongly that the EC will rescind its decision. So I'm not going to have a second thought about that. I know EC, when we talk, they listen. And sometimes these things, they know the effect. So they will not want to joke with that. I know they will listen. That one, I know that.
Doc, thank you very much. But before I let you go, you also are working on a poll, right?
Yes. We are doing something on, using our models. We have not gone to the field to gather data, but you can use models also to make sense, which we did use the last election. Recall, we were on your station, and then on the day of election, we came out to validate the results, and it was amazing, very close. Very, very close, and we got a lot of places right.
Okay.
And the same mode we are using this time, we have even improved upon the model, and then we are going to bring it out. We have worked on it. There are a few, I's and dots that need to be put into the system. Once we are done, we'll let the public know. But we are telling them that it's from a model, so that when it will guide everybody's discussion and then the conduct, so that we are all carried along the same lane. But I can assure you, we'll adore it, and then we'll tell you what the model has come out with. And then on the day of election, we'll tell you, we told you so, we told you so. That's it. Expect something interesting.
Right. All right, Doc. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure talking to you. Have a wonderful day, sir.
May your day be smooth. I wish you a good day.
Thank you. You had to speak to Dr. Asa Asante. He's a director of the Center for European Studies and also a lecturer at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana. You're still listening to Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM. I'll go for this break. When I return, there's more to talk about.